Hey everyone, Samantha McLean from Elite Agent Magazine, and I'm really excited to be able to let you know that this week we formally kicked off our Transform program, where we selected 6 agents from around Australia from different markets at different stages in their career to participate in some world-class coaching on the road to AREC 2016. This week, our Super 6 were coached by none other than John McGrath and program mentor Claudio Encina. John spoke a great deal about the types of behaviours of world-class agents and really honed in on the idea of becoming a professional agent. Claudio spoke about the sort of consistency and practice that needs to happen to become a world-class agent. Lastly, we spoke about goal setting, and John individually spoke to each agent about their personal and career goals, why they should think bigger, and breaking down what needed to happen for this to occur. Here are some of the highlights.
You know, I remember watching years ago these Australia's Got Talent type shows, X Factor. There's been a whole range of them, and I was always amazed by how quickly people transformed from natural talent and ability into polished world-class performers over a period of a few weeks. Now, okay, there's a little bit of camera fudging in there, but in reality, having sort of been involved in a couple of reality type shows, it's pretty close to the truth. People came in, they sort of stood around the block in long queues, eventually got there, did a kind of a rough cut performance, they got in, and then 6, 8, 12 weeks later, they were, in some instances, polished recording artists. So I see this as the ability to have an extreme makeover experience. All of you have that rough cut natural talent, otherwise you wouldn't be in the room, so take that for granted. But you're not, at this point, polished recording artists. When I say that, that's not to be confused with inauthentic. Polished just means professional, world best. Please don't take personal feedback, even what you might hear as criticism, constructive criticism, personally. I pay people, have so for years, to tell me how I can improve. It's really just about taking it on board. Now, it doesn't mean that everything that everyone says is you will agree with. If you are surrounding yourself with the right people, most of what they say will have some element of truth in it. So you've got to take that. My story started much the same as yours. I was a bit younger, maybe I was 19, 20, started in selling, couldn't sell much for the first 6 months, started questioning myself, full of enthusiasm, full of at one level belief and certainty, but that gets eroded away when you don't get the results you expect. So I got to a point where I thought, God, is real estate really for me? Fortunately, I got a couple of little wins, a couple of successes, and then that momentum built, and then, so it's been a great 33 years for me being in this industry. Because at the end of the day, real estate, like anything worthwhile trying to achieve, there's going to be elements of challenge and toughness and rejection and all the things that are a little bit less pleasant, but they are part of the journey and you can't escape them. So anyone says to me, look, I really love real estate, I want to be the best, but how do I avoid rejection? Reality is you don't. You cannot. This is a part of the deal, is getting strong at the areas that you're not so strong and really ramming home a point of difference. I mean, I see a lot of agents out there. Here's what I see about the industry. Full of a lot of people, but very few are professionals. Most are amateurs. So what does an amateur do? They turn up 5 minutes late for appointments, they don't follow through, they don't cross their T's, they take average photos for their properties, they don't tell clients the truth around what a property is really worth, they don't know the market knowledge as well as they should. There's a whole range of things that amateurs do, and if you guys think about your industry and the marketplace you're in and people that you either associate with or observe, most of them are not at that elite level. So the question that I'll propose first up at the beginning is, are you serious about becoming a professional? Because if you are, there's work involved, and the reward is phenomenal, having kind of embarked on a never-ending journey of trying to become better and better in my own real estate career and more importantly in my own life. There is a cliche, unfortunately it's a cliche because it's kind of a lot of people, but it's the journey that's the reward, not the destination. A lot of people look at real estate. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your whys a bit and where are you, what's your plan, but a lot of people look at real estate and they say, well, I want to make a lot of money, and that's there's nothing wrong with that as a scoreboard and as an outcome. But at some point that no longer drives you to be world best because you make a lot of money. This is one of the industries you can make a lot of money if you become good or exceptional. And then what? So what drives you? So 33 years later, I'm every single day, honestly, authentically excited to go to work and do what I do. And every day I get to go into client meetings, I get training sessions like this, I get to a whole range of different things that I get to do that are gifts, and I can't believe, what an opportunity I've been given. So that's after 33 years. A lot of people, at this point are burned out, they're whatever, but I'm passionate about coaching, adding value. I love serving people. It's one of my big whys, is I just love serving people. And when someone rings up and says, I can't believe it, I had one a couple of days ago, someone was trying to get a rental property for their son who'd had trouble, finding a rental property. We found a rental property, she rings up, she's almost in tears. As a commercial transaction in the world of our company, that's not a kind of a major blip on the radar, but for me that meant as much as selling a $25 million house, because it's about serving people, helping people, and I look at real estate that this is an integral part of all that. For my friend's son, getting his first rental property, that's kind of a pretty important thing, right? You got to live somewhere, you hate real estate agents knocking your back, you feel whatever, you've got pressure on you to move somewhere, and then all of a sudden someone helps you. You get in, and it's like, that's the change we can affect. And that goes right through for life.
I think, over the next 12 weeks, one thing that resonates with me, my 3 core values always, as a coach when I work with people is, number 1 is focus. Like, you want to get focused. Number 2 for me is progress. So wherever you are today, you want to make progress. And the third is growth. And, I live by those values in my business, in my life, because I think, if you've got the focus and you start to make progress and growth, you're just happy. I do a lot of videos of successful agents, people like John, and I always say, what's your definition of success? And everyone at the end of it says happiness. It's not about the money, it's not about the car I drive or where I live. It's happiness just in all areas of their life, being it, family or health or the way they feel about themselves. And I think, for us over the next 12 weeks is a real journey, and that's what I want to bring to the table is, help you get focused for where you're at today, help you really, make some progress and really grow over the next 12 weeks. John, you mentioned something funny. It was like, he's talked about pros versus amateurs, and I'm a big believer in that, and I've seen a lot of it. And I was listening to a podcast just the other day, and Kobe Bryant, he's like winner of the NBA, All-Star, most valuable player. And he was just saying, the guy was interviewing him, and he said, how many hours do you train? And he said, I do 800 hoops a day, like 800 hoops. And I went, wow. And the guy said, how long does that take? And he said, 4 to 5 hours a day. So even though he's the best, he's not resting on his laurels or he's not complacent, he's still going 4 to 5 hours a day just shooting 800 hoops. And it was really funny, he just said at the end, he said, for me, if I get that opportunity to stand up at the free throw line, he goes, I've got the responsibility to win or lose a game. So he said, I take that quite seriously. And I want to make sure I shoot and hit the hoop and get it through the hoop.
I think it's a good point, Claudio, that it's very easy to see what looks like exceptional performance and think that it's kind of natural talent. Kobe Bryant's a great example. I hadn't heard that, but I'm not surprised. Very same to Pocock and there's a whole range of others. The people that perform exceptionally well on the court, on the field, in the world of business, in our equivalent, they put the hard yards in when they're not at a listing. They're putting that in to really learn the skills. Just be really clear about me. I just hired a guy that's doing over $2 million in GCI. At the interview, well, it wasn't an interview because he's a high-class performer, we're just generally chatting about stuff, and I said, what do you want to achieve? He looked me in the eyes, he said, I will be Australia. So I want to be Australia's #1 agent. Absolute clarity, no ego, no uncertainty, no waffle. He said, I want to be Australia's #1 agent, and he felt, rightly or wrongly, that coming to us was going to be a part of that process. And I said that, that means you'll have to go from 2 million to about 6 million. He said, yeah, I know exactly what I have to do. So, clarity, whatever it is, and please don't be embarrassed, uncomfortable about, in a business environment saying, I want to write $1 million, I want to be the best in the world or whatever. Because I get that we're all good people and everyone beneath that wants to do something far more meaningful than just write GCI. I get that. But also don't be uncomfortable saying that. So my coaching Zach around, one of the first things is if you want to get somewhere, you have to be absolutely, unequivocally, crystal clear on where that is. And kind of when I hear, oh, I was somewhere before and it was not a bad place, I wouldn't mind getting back to it. For me, that's like a lot of fuzz. I want you to be bang. First thing you said to me, I want to have maybe one day the best office in Scarborough. I'd say, why Scarborough and not the world? Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of, to me, thinking small doesn't really serve you. So when I started my tiny little business, out of my lounge room and then a serviced office and a little terrace, I had an aspiration to have the best real estate office in the world. I don't know where, I had no right to think that, but I thought it and I was passionate about it, and as a result of that, I've probably built a better business than if I'd have said, I want to have a good little business in Paddington. I want the best little business in Paddington. So I encourage you all to think bigger than you've ever thought before. That's the starting point of greatness. When you stop thinking about having the best office in Scarborough and you start thinking about having the best office on planet Earth. Different set of decisions come from that.
Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget to look out for our feedback videos from our Super 6, as they're going to provide their honest reflections on what they took away from this session with John and Claudio and how they are now thinking about where they really want to be in their careers. And we'll see you soon for our Week 2 recap. If you have any questions for our coaches or our Super 6, tweet us at #LeadAgentMag, #Transform. See you soon.